Welcome to Burn On, Not Out, the podcast for high achievers who check the boxes, hit the goals, built the life, but know there has to be another way. I'm Brooke Dukes, your no BS business bestie, and I'm here to cut through the fluff with real stories, sharp insights, and the kind of truth that opens your eyes to a new way of creating success with ease and flow. No hacks, no hustle worship, no pretending constant activity is momentum. Just the raw, practical, and powerful shifts that happen when you stop leading from fear and start leading without the armor, with clarity and authenticity. Let's get into it. Today, we're not just recapping the last 3 episodes. We're anchoring what they really revealed. Because these journal entries, they weren't content, they were mirrors, reflecting the parts of us we've had to armor just to function. The parts we silenced so we could succeed. The parts we kept polished so no one could see how close we were to breaking. In episode 11, The Riptide, we kicked it off with the truth most people won't say out loud. Success can look incredible on paper, but feel hollow in your body. Everything is working, the numbers, the growth, the momentum, but I was quietly unraveling under the weight of it all. I wasn't tired because the strategy was wrong. I was tired because I was leading from pressure, from urgency, over responsibility, from trying to hold it all together without ever stopping to really feel what my body actually needed. And the truth? You can't lead well when your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight. Your leadership becomes reactive, not proactive. You make fast decisions out of fear, not out of clarity. And your team can feel it, even if they don't know how to name it. You chase control instead of clarity, and clarity never comes from control. It comes from pausing long enough to hear what's real underneath the noise. Fear and control might drive short-term results, but it caps the potential of what those results could have been. The moment I stopped forcing it all to work was the moment things finally started to build with ease and flow. In episode 12, The Bed, the Beating, the Boundary, this one almost didn't go live. Not because it wasn't valuable, but because it was so real, raw, emotional, and unpolished. It was a part of me I usually keep hidden. I almost didn't share it because there's still this fear that if I show too much, if I'm too honest, too emotional, too messy, I'll lose credibility. I'll be seen as weak. But here's the truth. Leadership that pretends isn't leadership, it's performance. And when we strip that mask off, when we lead from our real emotional truth, that's where trust lives. That's where connection happens. That's where your team, your audience, your people actually feel you. Because people don't want polished, they want real. If you felt that too, this is your reminder. Your value doesn't disappear when you're vulnerable. You don't lose authority when you get honest. You gain respect. You gain trust, connection, and the kind of leadership people actually want to follow. Because the leadership that resonates most is the kind that speaks from the heart and stays focused on adding real value to the moment, not protecting the image. That's when you're the most powerful. Not when you're performing, but when you're present and real. In episode 13, Control over Comfort, this one hit a nerve because it wasn't just about a bed. It was about a childhood survival pattern I didn't even know I was still carrying. The belief that if I don't stay on top of everything, everything will fall apart. And if they fall apart, it's all my fault. It was about trying to control my environment so I didn't have to feel how out of control I felt on the inside. The thing is, control doesn't always show up as a micromanaging your team. Sometimes it's in the tiny rituals, the morning routine you have to follow, the way you structure your day so tightly there's no space for feeling, the way you need the dishes done your way or your whole system starts to buzz. I recently caught myself doing it again. We had a team project shifting timelines, and instead of letting it settle in, I started rewriting tasks at 11 o'clock at night because it gave me the illusion of control. But the next day I paused. I handed it back. I said, I trust you. Run with it. And guess what they did? Better than what I was rewriting at 11 at night. No stress, no chaos, just a pause. It was a reminder that leadership isn't about holding it all. It's about trusting yourself enough to let others rise. If you're constantly holding it all together, this is your cue to check the cost. Because what looks like productivity on the surface can actually be a trauma response underneath. And what feels like leadership can be a fear of chaos dressed up as responsibility. Control might make you feel safe in the moment, but over time, it erodes your ability to actually be safe in your own body. And the more I've released that grip, the more I've been able to lead from grounded confidence instead of anxious control. So let's put it all together. If there's one thing that ties these episodes, it's that how you lead yourself is how you lead your business. There is no separation. Your energy, your emotional state, your beliefs, they're always in the room, even when you're not speaking. If you're feeling mentally overloaded, emotionally reactive, or like your team can't move without your constant input, it's not just a capacity issue. It's a sign that the way you're leading isn't sustainable. It's costing you clarity, trust, and long-term momentum. And when fear is leading, strategy becomes survival. You start reacting instead of leading. Everything starts to feel heavy, like leadership is a burden instead of a gift. If you're ready to lead from clarity instead of chaos, here's what I want you to sit with this week. I don't want you to hustle. I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to notice. Where are you leading from urgency instead of clarity? Where are you doing too much instead of trusting your team? Where are you micromanaging, not because it's needed, but because it makes you feel safe? Pick just one. A meeting, a decision, a conversation, and pause long enough to feel what's true underneath the pressure. And if you don't know how to feel into the clarity, start with your human design. The link's in the show notes. It will help you to find out how you're designed to make decisions, how long to wait, how much your emotions play into your clarity, what's yours to carry and what's not. Then lead from there, not from the mask, not from the fear, but from the truth. This next season of leadership, it's not about doing more. It's about leading with more honesty, more self-trust, more alignment with who you actually are. And sometimes the most powerful shift doesn't come from a plan. It comes from a pause. So if you're leading from pressure, urgency, or fear, this is your reminder. You don't need to burn it all down. You just need to stop abandoning yourself in the name of success. You're allowed to lead from peace. You're allowed to let it be easier. You're allowed to belong in the room, even when you're not holding it all. We'll be back next week. Until then, lead from your truth, not your tension. Thanks for tuning in to Burn On Not Out. If this resonated, check the show notes for tools and resources to help you slow down, trust yourself, and keep leading without the constant pressure and stress that wears you down. Remember, real success doesn't come from pushing harder. It comes from slowing down long enough to see clearly and leading from clarity and peace instead of control and fear. I'll see you next week.